But you are going to see now few tables, old ones. This we are doing because the 1st of January is the outside of the anniversary of the PLO. So that's well to know what is behind. So a lot of material about it one can find in Professor Haralick's site, torahcode.us, in which we have also a lot of tables there. And we'll have there many tables about the Intifada, really everything from the beginning when it started, which is 748, Tafshin Memchet, and up till these days. So in this site we brought many tables, really almost every event which went through with the Philistines during this time, showing that really what was in the past is today. And this is really the book which I wrote a while ago, Philistinian and Palestinians in Torah codes, a few Torah codes, but mainly this is a book you can see is written down that it shows you all this, all history when the struggle between Palestinians and Philistines in the past started up till today, already from the time when everyone was digging wells for water. The Philistines at that time did a lot of trouble. Definitely according to Kabbalah, all indicates to these days. So my book, Philistines and Palestinians, came also in Hebrew, in Russian, in other things, but it shows exactly all history through the time of the Abraham, our forefather, then the time of the Bible, the Judges, and Samuel up till today. And definitely there is a clear connection. So this what you see is written here. The book is an attempt to demonstrate how God's providence works to guide the course of world history with the view in mind of throwing some light on present events. In order to understand our own days, we must first step back some 4,000 years and investigate the Philistines, a nation which has dogged the Jewish people since the days of today. So definitely important book. You can get it by Kindle, you can get it by Amazon.com, and also my site, GlazersonBooks.com, or in shops that they will have it. So very important book. And now, in this light, we are going to show you some, really, of the tables that we did with Professor Robert Haralick. And this is important. You see what's in the picture is written, Palestinians youth throwing rocks during the Intifada up till today. How many people were injured by this? Up till today, every day, non-stop. So this is what Professor Haralick, although what became the Intifada, was Intifada in Arabic means that they want to throw the yoke, the yoke of the Jews, of Zionism, whatever you call it, but they didn't want it to be free. So Intifada means so. Initially, at that time, it was unplanned. The PLO leadership, who in 1987 was in Tunisia, that Paris brought him back, began to coordinate the uprising principally by newspapers, radio and television, media, and writing leaflets that were secretly distributed to the Palestinian population on the average of every 2 weeks. So the leftists provided detailed guidance for the uprising, what to do and when to do it, and what not to do. It included various forms of civil disobedience and making disturbances by stone throwing, firebombing, building barriers, graffiti, and clashing with Israel troops. At the appointed times and places, the PLO leadership sent shock trade to encourage and lead this activity. All this enabled the PLO leadership to alert the media ahead of time to have journalists and photographers preposition to see and write about it, not only the reality of the civil disobedience and writing, but also the various field staged fake scenes of Palestinians being wounded. The coordinated action with the media and the directions of the police and what to do amount to a combined uprising and psychological warfare against Israel. This combination confronted the Israeli military and government. So all this telling us a story which does not stop. So many Jews were killed by terror attacks, so many were wounded. And there is no end. What can be the end? The end, if Jews will return to God, will keep the Torah. So all the promise of the Torah that Israel belong to Israel will come out. But you see, today difficult. The leftists, Lapid, Lieberman, Meretz, unfortunately, are doing everything to fight against the Torah. There's a case in Shabbos, again, purity of life, men and women. Okay, what can we do? Gentile also have to keep 7 laws of Noach, and unfortunately don't keep the most severe one, abortion or Musralti. Since we are going through troubles, the time more and more people killed, more and more people wounded, more and more stones are thrown, and these stones sometimes kill people also. So, as I said, first while reading my book, because it will give you the whole picture, and we'll understand why it comes. There is a reason why Jews suffer for the Palestinians. Not simple. There is a reason. It will exactly explain what are the Palestinians, what is their zodiac, and why. So, this is my book also about the zodiac, about this month, because this is the month. Capricorn is the month of the Palestinians, according to Kabbalah, Benubachia. This is their month. Their luck is on this month. Maybe this was they started the organization this month, and who knows which kind of troubles they are going to do now. So let us see one of many tables that we did with Professor Haralick. And this is what you have in the table. The verse which you hear here. PLO, terror, now PLO, Ashraf, which is the Irgun Shochare Palestine, the organization of Palestinians. Yeah. And then you have the Fatah, PLO, and terrorists, and Intifada. All of this coming here, you can see Intifada comes here, and Ashraf and Fatah. By the way, I think it's the best meeting of Ashraf and Fatah. In terror, there are partners in terror, and here you have the year A5760, which is 2000. Yeah, 2000. And this is what we see. Professor Haralick said on September 28, 2000, the second Palestinian Intifada was triggered by a visit to the Temple Mount, the Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem, by then Israeli opposition leader Ariel Sharon. This visit was planned and had the approval of all the relevant Palestinian authorities, including Arafat himself. According to Sharon's own statement, the purpose of the visit was to show that in accordance with Oslo, Jewish people can visit the area, regarded as the most holy Jewish places. So the next day, the Palestinians rioted in Old Jerusalem. 5 people were killed, and the trouble started. They were killed by dead, and plenty people, 70 police were wounded by the rocks throwing. Unbelievable. This was followed by demonstration and rioting in the West Bank in Gaza. So this side carries on, and then it came on October 7, 2000, Palestinians mob demonstrated the mob of the patriarch Joseph. The tomb is a Jewish holy site near the West Bank city of Shechem, Nablus. On October 12th, 2 Israelis mistakenly wandered into the Palestinian city of Ramallah, where they were set upon by mob Palestinians and were barbarically lynched. So the violence continued to fare and included a renewal of suicide attacks in Israel, killing hundreds of innocent Israeli civilians, frightening. The Palestinian terrorists infiltrated into Israel and carried out suicide bombing on buses, in restaurants, shopping malls, and even in private homes between September 2000 and 2003. More than 900 innocent men, women, and children were murdered in Israel in attacks carried out by the Palestinian terrorists. Thousands of other Israelis were injured, many for life. The Jewish year corresponding to the September 28, 2000, the beginning of the Second Intifada, is 5760. We use a key was verse 5760. I was explaining to you exactly what it is. So the date was, as you see here, 2000. Now, it is very interesting to point out that the year 2000, which is the Hebrew 5760, is brought in Kabbalistic book, old one, by Galia Razia, Saner, that it will be very severe year. It is interesting, okay, these are Jewish concepts, but the idea brought is that there is a mikveh, you know, when people come, women go to purify themselves. So mikveh have the amount of 40 se'ah. Okay, se'ah is a measure, measurement. 40 measurement like this. The idea of 40, because 40 is the time like the fetus is becoming, getting a shape. So there is a reason for 40. 4 elements become complete. Whatever it is, 40 amount of water in the mikveh to make people pure, especially women. Then there are also smaller amounts, which is like called log and calf and egg. Now the smallest is egg. So the number of eggs in se'ah, coming to a number, if you multiply it into 40, you will have 5760. It means the amount of the quantity of eggs in a mikveh is 5,760, exactly like this date the Intifada started. Now, we know it's very important when people read my book about time of redemptions. So I brought many important ideas, and among them, Kabbalah, very famous idea that time which is suitable for redemption, for Messiah, if Jews unfortunately are not ready, they don't keep the Torah, they translate the Sabbath, no purity, so there is no vessel to get the light, so it turned to be disaster. The Holocaust, was exactly in the year that, according to many, even the Vilna Gaon, this was the time this could be Messiah, right? It is. I brought in my book an interesting calculations. The Vilna Gaon says that every day is like 1,000, like the 6 days of creation, clearly shows the exact day that Messiah could come, and others in Daniel, the book of Daniel, many indications to this year, 1948, that unfortunately, because of that jump, we had Mapai, we have terrible party, which against the Torah, and all those many Jews for Yemen, after such wonderful tradition, came those one Mapai, this party, people came and cut their pairs and forced them to desecrate the Shabbos, to eat forbidden food. So you see, instead of having a Messiah, we had a war, 1948. Interesting explanation for it. The Malbim, one of the great commentators, said, he says, the time of redemption is like the time when the sun is very strong. So what happened to the plants? or if the plants are full of water, they are growing nicely. If not, they are burned. This is exactly what Holocaust is. In Hebrew, Holocaust is Esh Shoah, which is the letter Esh Vav A, the fire of God. Right? So, when the plants are dry, nothing, no water there, they are burned. This is exactly what happened. When there is no water of Torah, no water of commandments, purity and holiness, then comes the fire and burns. And this is why the Holocaust came, and this is why we have the 2000s, which could be very important here for redemption. Right? As I said, many indications for this book, Gal Yaraza, very mystical book, which says clearly that the amount of these years, the years which brought to this date, are very important, and Messiah can come. But again, we have those people like Lapid, and his father at that time, and all those against the Torah, against the Sabbath, like today, they're against the government because they don't like people who keep Torah, they don't keep it. So we see the troubles are coming stronger and stronger. Very likely will come out. So it's very interesting. So this is a table that you see, right? The year is Tafshin 5760, exactly the year that could be year of Messiah, but it turned to be Intifada. Intifada, which killed many hundreds of Jews, innocent ones, young and old, and carries on today because we carry on translating the Torah. Then you have here another table, this I think Professor Haralick did, based on my book, because in my book I bring the sign, the zodiac sign of the Philistines is Gdi. Gdiism, you can see it here. The word Capricorn, or not Capricorn, but the translator is Gdi. Gdiism, as is a goat, so a goat. Now this is really the sign, the Capricorn sign is Gdiism, it's a Capricorn, but the translation of Gdiism is a kid of goats. Right, and this is the sign of this month, the Capricorn, and according to Kabbalah is the Mazal, the zodiac, the luck of the Palestinians. Interesting. The Plishtim, not the Philistines, the root, the spiritual root of the Palestinians today. It is interesting. So this I brought exactly why, what is the idea, a very interesting thing. So this is why you have here the Philistinians, Plishtim, and you have the word Gdiism, and kid of God, because this is the zodiac of this. Now what you have here more, Esh, Ashraf and Patach. I think the best mikvah of Ashraf, there are two names for the Palestinian organization. Ashraf is a gun, Shochare Palestine, and Patach also. So both of them coming here. Then you have Mered, because rebellion, you wanted to use Hebrew word for Intifada, which is Mered, they're rebelling against Israel, against it, so you come here. Now, what is the place that you have here is Kalkilia. Kalkilia is one of the places very famous, at that time, it was a very important settlement of the Arabs there, and lots of problems were in this place, at that time. So you see in this attack, Professor Haralick tried to bring you from the beginning, from the first Intifada, to up to there. So he brought all the events that happened there, and one of them was happening in Kalkilia. So this is what is about Kalkilia, and this is what you have here. Patach, Palestinians, Mered. It is interesting why the Kalkilia is a place, was near Kfar Saba. It is a place that I was born, and I lived there in my youth. And in fact, this was a place from where the Arabs sent bombs and were shooting, and we have to go to be very careful, at that time. And one of the cases was they sent bombs, and it was really a place, a stable there with cars, All of them were killed, but we were saved. We were 5 minutes from them. It was a thing about 100 meters from the Mamash, a great miracle. So this was Kalkilia. So this is one of the places, and the interesting table, I think that Professor Haralick did it, and bringing exactly the problems that we had from the terror and Kalkilia, the rebellion. The Palestinians, Ashab did. It's interesting, but it's one of many tables in this site of Professor Haralick, which is torahcode.us. And if you will go there into the site, there will be a lot of explanation of what is going on. You will have all history clearly. Now it's worthwhile emphasizing that this table, which I found, and Professor Haralick analyzed it, and he said exactly what you see here. The accepted number of ELS is in equalator sequence, is set to 20, and the cylinder side is 1,000 columns. Now this is the sign, the number of letters in the sign. The probability, this is most interesting, the probability that a text from the ELS, random placement, text would produce a small table that it will be 12.52 under thousands. So which means if you take it to 10,000, so it is 1.2 to 10,000. No? Very, very highly significant table, and clearly tell us the truth. Yeah, this is the truth. The Torah is a blueprint of creation. So it tells us that the Intifada, terror by terrorists, and the Torah tells us, as I said, in the Torah, in the prophecies, especially in the book of Judges, when Israel transgressed the Torah, came the Philistines and burned their fields. Yeah, that's what is written there. Unbelievable. When Jews, this is what when Israel served idols and so on, via Plishtim, so the Philistines went up on their fields, wheat, and burned their field. Clearly telling us that the only way to have peace is to keep the Torah. Because once you translate the Torah, you create terrorists, spiritually or physically, and then you see what is happening, throwing stone, rocks, frightening, up till today. Up till today is no day that stones are not thrown on Jewish people who are traveling, yeah? So, what can I say? I can say that read my book. You can get it in Kindle, you can read it in Kindle, and you will see how true is the Torah. I think it's one rating, maybe it was exactly when it started, because my book before was in Amazon, but then Kindle started, very nice idea, good idea of Kindle, that you can read book, and from heaven that will be able for people, even if they don't have money, can read a few pages. So, interesting and very important and significant. And as I said, if you are interested to know more about all this happening, yeah, so look in our site. I mean, Professor Haralick's site, when we wrote many tables about this conflict, which lasts and will last up to the Messiah. Clearly indication that this struggle with the Philistines will last up to Messiah time. So what we should do? We should repent, keep the Torah and mitzvot, then we will have Messiah and they will not have any more terror. So interesting and very important tables, as I said, very significant one, very interesting one, this one also, really Kalkilia, happened in very interesting connection with the Zodiac, Gdi, and the Sinah Shevelach. So, let us hope that really Jews will keep the Torah, will keep the Shua. And you see the Satan very strong. This is why he's doing everything today. Today, look what is going on, how this Lapid and his friends that doing everything to disturb the government to function and to do everything. Yeah, and this is because they don't like that majority of the parties are people who believe in the Torah. Many of them keep Torah Orthodox, some of them even the appreciate the Torah, the traditional, so they cannot stand it. The teachers are doing everything to disturb. This is Satan, but what they are doing is only causing more and more troubles, because when the Arabs will see what is going on, they will find very nice, good opportunity to make more troubles. So, interesting and significant and important tables. This is what you saw. And again, I recommend to read my book, Palestinians. My translators are very good ones. Look, I take translators who translate for art school and so on. I don't translate myself. My English is not good for this, but my translators are very, very good ones. Okay, so happy after Hanukkah. You know, it's written that the light of Hanukkah goes also in this month. If you follow my lecture, which I gave just now about the zodiac, Capricorn, so I brought him amazing ideas that God did that the last days of Hanukkah always start the beginning of the month of Capricorn, Tevet. Tevet is very, very difficult month. So God wanted that the beginning, the head of it will be shining. So there are still 2 days, the 7th and the 8th candle of Hanukkah still burning in this month. Very difficult month, we know this is month. The 10th of Tevet is the beginning of the destruction, you know, this is a big fast day. So we are starting very difficult time in Jewish history. So what we should do is, if we not have such terrible times, to repent, to do tshuva. This is what is written. So, important, significant table was said, and very interesting material in the site of Professor Haralick, TorahCode.us. US, like the state US.